The Great Pyramid of Giza aligns with the setting sun only 2 days a year. This was not a lucky guess, but a deliberate act of genius, a hidden language of stone and stars written by ancient hands. By the end of this journey, you will see the world's most famous monuments not as silent ruins, but as sophisticated cosmic clocks and celestial maps. How did cultures separated by oceans and millennia achieve such impossible precision without modern tools? And what profound truth were they trying to tell us about our place in the universe? When you look at the night sky, what story do you think the stars are trying to tell? These celestial patterns were not simply observed. They were deeply woven into the very fabric of ancient life, a connection we now study through the lens of archaeoastronomy. This field acts as a bridge, connecting the silent stones of archaeology with the precise movements of astronomy. It asks a fundamental question: how did ancient cultures perceive the sky, and how did that perception shape their world, from their rituals to their most enduring constructions? The answer requires a unique blend of skills, reading architectural blueprints as if they were star charts, and interpreting mythologies for their hidden astronomical code. Pioneers in this field opened our eyes to these possibilities. Scholar Gerald Hawkins, for instance, used early computer analysis to propose that the massive stones of Stonehenge formed a sophisticated astronomical calculator capable of predicting solar and lunar events. Across the ocean, Anthony Aveni spent decades deciphering the complex celestial calendars of Mesoamerican cultures, revealing how their pyramids and temples were precisely aligned to the movements of Venus and the Sun. This work does not rely on a single clue. It synthesizes everything from the alignment of a temple wall to surviving historical records and the enduring knowledge of indigenous communities. By building this comprehensive framework, archaeoastronomy gives us the tools to listen to what these monuments have been silently saying for millennia. It transforms a pile of stones into a deliberate message aimed at the heavens. With this foundation in place, we can now approach these ancient sites not as tourists, but as interpreters, ready to uncover the specific secrets etched in stone and sky. That alignment to the cardinal directions is not just a geographical curiosity. It is a feat of engineering so precise that its margin of error is a fraction of a single degree. To achieve this, the builders likely turned their eyes to the heavens, using the constant, slow circling of the northern circumpolar stars as a celestial reference point. Another method may have used a simple gnomon, a vertical rod, to track the sun's shadow throughout the day. The shortest shadow cast would point directly north, a beautifully simple yet profoundly effective technique. But the pyramid's cosmic conversation does not end with its external form. Deep within the king's chamber, narrow shafts, once called air shafts, pierce through the massive stone blocks. Modern research suggests these were not for ventilation, but were instead precisely angled telescopes of stone targeting specific stars. One shaft aimed directly at Sirius, the brightest star in our sky, associated with the goddess Isis. Another pointed toward the stars of Orion's belt, a constellation linked to Osiris, the god of the afterlife. For the ancient Egyptians, the pharaoh's spirit was believed to use these shafts as a pathway to join these eternal, divine beings. This transforms the pyramid from a simple resting place into a powerful machine for celestial rebirth, a permanent model of the cosmos here on Earth. It stands as a silent testament to a civilization that saw no separation between their kingdom and the kingdom of the stars, building a gateway to the heavens with a sophistication we are only just beginning to fully comprehend. While the pyramids spoke of a pharaoh's journey to the stars, another monument on the windswept Salisbury Plain in England, tells a different yet equally profound celestial story. Stonehenge captures the world's attention every summer and winter solstice, when the sun rises or sets in perfect alignment with its iconic heel stone and central altar. This was not a random arrangement of massive sarsen stones. It was a carefully engineered astronomical observatory and calendar, marking the longest and shortest days of the year with dramatic precision. Imagine the significance of that moment for its Neolithic builders. After the long, dark nights of winter, the sun's rays piercing through the stones on the winter solstice would have promised the inevitable return of light and warmth. For a society dependent on agriculture, this knowledge was not just mystical, it was essential for survival, dictating the timing for planting and harvest. This solar alignment turned Stonehenge into a focal point for community gatherings and rituals, a place where the entire social order was reaffirmed under the watchful eye of the cosmos. But the solar calendar was only part of its genius. The Aubrey holes, a ring of pits surrounding the monument, may have been used to predict lunar eclipses. By moving markers from hole to hole over a long cycle, these ancient astronomers could anticipate when the Earth's shadow would fall upon the moon, a truly awe-inspiring feat of long-term observation. The enduring mystery of how a society without written language or metal tools achieved this continues to inspire debate. It shows us a people not primitive in their understanding, but deeply connected to the rhythms of the cosmos, building a timeless stone computer to track the very heartbeat of the sky. Across the sea in the lush Boyne Valley of Ireland, a different kind of monument silently awaited its annual moment of glory. Newgrange is a massive, circular passage tomb, a structure so ancient it predates both Stonehenge and the Great Pyramid of Giza. For most of the year, its inner chamber is a place of profound and utter darkness, a silent, stone-walled space deep within an earthen mound. But for a few precious minutes around the winter solstice sunrise, something miraculous happens. A single, narrow beam of sunlight pierces through a unique opening above the entrance known as a roof box. This sliver of light then travels down the long, narrow passageway, a journey of over 60 feet, until it floods the central chamber in a dramatic golden glow. This was not a happy accident. The roof box is a masterpiece of precise engineering, a stone-framed window designed with one spectacular purpose: to capture the first light of the reborn sun on the shortest day of the year. In that single, brilliant moment, the entire structure transforms from a resting place into a cosmic symbol. For the Stone Age people who built it, this event would have been the ultimate reassurance. At the very peak of winter's darkness, when the sun seemed at its weakest, they had built a machine to prove its inevitable return. This was a tangible demonstration of hope, renewal, and the eternal victory of light, themes that were central to their worldview and spiritual life. The fact that this alignment still functions with perfect accuracy after more than 5,000 years is a humbling thought. It speaks to a relationship with the cosmos that was both deeply intuitive and incredibly sophisticated, a connection carved into the landscape itself, waiting each year to deliver its ancient message of light. The Mayans engineered their own celestial drama in stone. At the ancient city of Chichen Itza, the step pyramid known as El Castillo holds a secret that awakens only twice a year. On the spring and autumn equinoxes, as the sun begins to set, a remarkable transformation occurs. The stepped corners of the northwest staircase catch the fading light, casting a series of triangular shadows down the balustrade. These interlocking shapes of light and dark merge to form the undulating body of a massive serpent, appearing to slither down from the temple at the summit to meet the great stone serpent heads carved at the base of the pyramid. This breathtaking illusion was far more than architectural spectacle. It was the divine manifestation of Kukulkan, the feathered serpent deity. For the Maya, this event marked the literal descent of the god, bridging the celestial realm with the earthly world and the underworld in a single, powerful symbol. The entire pyramid is a coded calendar. Each of its 4 sides has 91 steps. When you add them together, you get 364. The final step, the platform at the very top, brings the total to 365, a perfect representation of the solar year. This was not a hidden alignment for priests alone. It was a public, undeniable demonstration of knowledge, a way for the ruling class to show their intimate connection to the cosmic order. By making the god visibly descend upon their temple, they wove their political authority directly into the fabric of the universe, proving their power was sanctioned by the stars themselves. High in the Andean clouds, Machu Picchu clings to a mountain ridge, its stonework merging so perfectly with the cliffs it feels less built and more grown. Here, the Incas did not merely observe the sky, they integrated it into the very bones of their city. At the heart of this celestial dialogue stands the Teotihuacan stone, a granite pillar carved from the mountain peak itself. Its name translates to the hitching post of the sun, and it functioned with breathtaking simplicity and precision. As the sun journeyed across the sky throughout the year, the stone's angled planes and sharp edges cast distinct, shifting shadows. On the equinoxes, the pillar would stand completely shadowless at noon, a moment of perfect balance, and during the solstices, the shadows fell in specific, predictable patterns, effectively tying the sun to this rocky altar and marking the critical turning points of the year. This was not abstract science, it was the practical, spiritual rhythm of an empire. The entire city's layout reinforces this connection. The semicircular temple of the sun, with its elegantly curved wall and trapezoidal window, is aligned to capture the first rays of the rising sun during the June solstice, illuminating a sacred ritual stone within. In the royal sector, the Room of the 3 Windows frames the celestial landscape, their openings oriented toward significant astronomical phenomena. One of the most vital of these was the heliacal rising of the Pleiades star cluster. For the Inca, the moment this tiny, shimmering group of stars became visible just before dawn was a signal of immense importance. It heralded the beginning of the planting season, a directive from the heavens that it was time to sow the seeds that would sustain their civilization. This seamless fusion of architecture and astronomy was fundamental to the Inca concept of Tawantinsuyu, their empire. They saw no division between the mountain, the city, the people, and the cosmos. It was all one interconnected, living system. Their worship of Inti, the sun god, was an acknowledgement of this relationship, a bond they maintained through precise stone alignments to ensure harmony, agricultural prosperity, and the continued order of their world. Machu Picchu stands as a monumental challenge to our modern tendency to separate nature from culture, showing us a worldview where humanity was not a master of the environment, but a conscious, participating element within a vast, breathing universe. Long before the Great Pyramids cast their shadows, another civilization was quietly mapping the heavens in stone. On the sun-drenched island of Malta, the Mnajdra temple complex stands as a testament to an astronomical tradition lost in time. Built around 3600 BCE, these ancient structures reveal a sophistication that challenges our understanding of prehistoric societies. During the equinoxes, the first golden light of dawn pierces the main doorway, traveling in a straight line to illuminate the very heart of the lower temple. This alignment was no simple marker of a single day. It was part of an intricate system, At the solstices, the sun's rays enter through entirely different openings, painting distinct patterns of light and shadow across the coralline limestone altars. Each season had its own signature, its own unique play of light choreographed by the temple's architects. The complexity deepens when we look to the moon. Some researchers propose that specific features of Mnajdra were aligned to the lunar standstills, the moments in the moon's 18.6-year cycle when it reaches its most extreme rising and setting points on the horizon. To track such a long, slow celestial rhythm requires generations of meticulous observation, a knowledge passed down through centuries. This was not a culture merely watching the sky. They were building a permanent stone calendar, a machine for tracking time itself. The temples regulated the agricultural year, dictating when to plant and when to harvest, while also framing the sacred rituals that gave their community meaning. In the silent, precise alignments of Mnajdra, we find the legacy of a people who saw their world as an inseparable part of a grand cosmic order, a harmony written in sunlight on ancient stone. Deep within a mountainside at Abu Simbel, a stone king waits for his moment of apotheosis. The great temple of Ramses II is a monument of staggering scale and ambition, carved directly into the rock. But its true genius is revealed only on two specific days of the year. On February 22nd and October 22nd, the rising sun performs a miracle of light. Its rays spear across the Egyptian desert, enter the temple's grand entrance, and then travel an incredible 200 feet through the mountain's heart, piercing the outer hall, the inner chambers, and finally flooding the deepest, most sacred sanctuary. There, in the Holy of Holies, 4 statues sit in perpetual wait. The dawn light illuminates 3 of them, Ramses II himself, flanked by the sun gods Amun-Ra and Ra-Horakhti. For a few brilliant minutes, the pharaoh is bathed in divine radiance, fused with the very essence of the solar deities. Yet, in a final act of breathtaking symbolic precision, the 4th statue, that of Ptah, the god of darkness and the underworld, remains forever in shadow. This was not a simple light show. It was a carefully orchestrated theological statement in stone and sunlight. Historians suggest these 2 dates aligned with the pharaoh's birthday and his coronation day. Each year, this celestial event served to ritually reaffirm his divine right to rule, proving his eternal connection to the cycle of creation itself. The importance of this alignment was considered so absolute that it transcended even the temple's physical location. In the 1960s, the rising waters of Lake Nasser, created by the Aswan High Dam, threatened to submerge Abu Simbel forever. In one of history's most ambitious engineering rescues, the entire temple complex was carefully cut into massive blocks, moved to higher ground, and reassembled like a colossal puzzle. The paramount directive for the international team of engineers was not merely to save the stones, but to preserve this precise solar alignment. They had to ensure that on those 2 hallowed days, the sun would continue its ancient journey into the sanctuary, illuminating the gods exactly as the original architects intended. This modern feat of preservation underscores a profound truth, that for the ancient Egyptians, this alignment was the temple's very soul, a non-negotiable contract between a king, his gods, and the cosmos, engineered to last for eternity. The silent avenues of Teotihuacan whisper of a grander design than mere urban planning. This sprawling ancient metropolis, with its colossal pyramid of the sun and the elegant pyramid of the moon, was not simply built upon the land, but was instead projected onto it from the heavens. The city's entire layout functions as a precise terrestrial map of the cosmos, a deliberate act of aligning human civilization with the sacred rhythms of the universe. At its heart runs the Avenue of the Dead, a vast ceremonial causeway that cuts across the landscape. Its orientation is the first clue, set not to true north but 15.5 degrees east. Some researchers propose this specific angle was chosen to target the rising point of the Pleiades star cluster. For cultures across Mesoamerica, this tight grouping of stars held profound significance, often associated with creation, agriculture, and the cyclical nature of time. By aligning their central axis with this celestial marker, the Teotihuacanos anchored their entire world to a fixed point in the night sky. The pyramid of the sun itself engages in a direct dialogue with our closest star. Its western face is positioned to stare directly into the setting sun on the 2 days each year when the sun passes through the zenith, the point directly overhead. In the tropics, this zenith passage is a major solar event, a day when vertical objects cast no shadow at noon, marking a moment of powerful, concentrated solar energy. The city's planners did not just build a monument to the sun, they choreographed an annual encounter with it. Every mountain, pyramid, and plaza in Teotihuacan was likely part of this cosmic blueprint. The surrounding peaks were not just a natural backdrop, they were sacred mountains integrated into the city's symbolic geometry, representing primordial forces and perhaps even mirroring specific celestial bodies. This was a holistic vision where the human-made and the natural world were fused into a single, harmonious expression of cosmic order. To walk the avenue of the dead was to traverse a model of the heavens. To live in Teotihuacan was to exist within a divine diagram, a constant reminder that human life was a direct participant in the grand, perpetual dance of the gods above. Above the tree line on a remote Wyoming plateau, a circle of stones endures the high mountain winds. The Big Horn Medicine Wheel may seem simple at first glance, a ring of limestone rocks with 28 spokes radiating from a central cairn. But this unassuming structure is a masterwork of celestial engineering, a star map etched directly onto the Earth. Its alignments are breathtakingly precise. On the summer solstice, an observer standing at the central cairn and looking through a specific outer stone would witness the sun rise in perfect alignment. Another stone across the circle marks the sunset on that longest day. But the wheel's true genius extends far beyond the sun. Its spokes also point toward the heliacal risings of brilliant stars like Sirius, Aldebaran, and Rigel. These are the moments when each star first becomes visible in the dawn sky after a period of invisibility. For the indigenous peoples who built this, likely the ancestors of the Crow or Shoshone, these celestial events were not abstract markers. The rising of Aldebaran might signal the beginning of the elk rut, indicating the best time to hunt. The appearance of Rigel could mark the time to gather specific medicinal plants. This was a practical, living calendar that wove the rhythms of the sky directly into the cycles of survival. Here, there was no need for quarried blocks or towering pyramids. The architects used the pristine mountain horizon itself as their instrument, placing stones as permanent sighting devices against the vast, open sky. This elegant solution demonstrates a profound truth. The drive to understand the cosmos was a universal human impulse, expressed not only in the monumental architecture of empires but in the subtle, intelligent adaptations of nomadic cultures. The Big Horn Medicine Wheel stands as a silent testament to a different kind of wisdom, one that found the entire universe reflected in the quiet alignment of a few well-placed stones. Far from the silent stone circles and pyramid shafts, the ancient Greeks sought celestial guidance in a more volatile form. At the Oracle of Delphi, the divine will was not just written in the stars but breathed from the very earth itself. Perched on the slopes of Mount Parnassus, this was the spiritual heart of the classical world, a place where kings and commoners alike journeyed to hear the prophecies of the Pythia. the priestess who served as the mouthpiece of the god Apollo. Her cryptic pronouncements could launch fleets, halt armies, and shape the destiny of entire city-states. But the source of her divine inspiration may have been as much celestial as it was chthonic. The inner sanctum, the adyton where the Pythia sat upon her tripod, was not a typical temple chamber. Ancient sources describe a fissure in the rock from which emerged intoxicating vapors that sent the priestess into a trance. Some modern theories propose this space was also engineered for celestial observation, with openings designed to allow specific shafts of sunlight or the light of certain stars to penetrate the gloom. It is a compelling thought that solar heat warming the rocky fissure could have intensified the ethereal gases, making the Pythia's connection to the divine strongest when the heavens were in a specific alignment. This intertwining of astronomy and prophecy was absolute. A sudden eclipse was not merely an astronomical event, it was a terrifying omen, a sign of divine displeasure that could stop a battle in its tracks. The appearance of a comet was a message written in fire across the night sky, a portent of a king's fall or a city's doom. When the Athenian general Nicias delayed a crucial military retreat because of a lunar eclipse, his hesitation led to a catastrophic defeat. The sky was a divine slate, and every unusual mark upon it demanded interpretation by the priests and philosophers who served as its translators. For the Greeks, there was no separation between the science of the stars and the art of divination. To understand the motion of the planets was to better comprehend the whims of the gods. The precise orientation of sacred sites like Delphi was a physical acknowledgement of this belief, anchoring their most important spiritual center to the cosmic order. The oracle did not just speak for the gods, she spoke with the sky, her prophecies echoing a celestial conversation that shaped the very course of Western civilization. The sprawling stone city of Angkor is more than a temple, it is a universe in miniature. Its 5 iconic towers rise from the Cambodian jungle not as random spires, but as a deliberate, stone-carved map of the Hindu cosmos. The tallest central tower represents the mythical Mount Meru, believed to be the cosmic axis and center of all physical and spiritual universes. Encircling it, the concentric galleries and walls stand in for the mountain ranges that ring this holy peak, while the immense, wide moat represents the vast cosmic ocean that lies beyond. To walk its grounds is to traverse a sacred geography, a landscape designed to mirror the structure of reality itself. This symbolic architecture was given life through precise celestial alignment. The temple's main gateway faces west, a rare orientation for a Hindu temple, chosen for a spectacular solar event. On the morning of the spring equinox, the sun rises in perfect alignment over the central tower, crowning the axis of the world with the light of the reborn sun. This annual phenomenon was a powerful, visible affirmation of the temple's purpose, to serve as a permanent bridge between the earthly realm and the heavenly domain. The connection to the cosmos extends even to the temple's intricate storytelling. The vast bas-reliefs that line its galleries are not arranged at random. They correspond to the cycles of time described in ancient scriptures, from the creation myths to the great battles and eventual dissolution of the world. Each carved panel is a chapter in a cosmic calendar, inviting pilgrims to walk through time itself as they circumambulate the sacred space. This entire grand scheme, from the solar alignment to the narrative stone carvings, served a profound political and spiritual function. It was designed to demonstrate that the king and his kingdom existed in perfect harmony with the divine order. By building a functioning model of the universe, the Khmer Empire anchored its power not just in military might, but in the eternal, unshakable rhythm of the cosmos. Angkor Wat was their ultimate statement, a declaration that their rule was a natural, sanctioned part of the universe's grand design. This small bronze disc, found near the town of Nebra, holds a universe of meaning in its palm-sized form. Crafted around 1600 BCE, it is the oldest known physical map of the sky ever discovered. Against a deep blue-green background of patinated bronze, gold symbols gleam with specific intent. A full circle and a graceful crescent represent the sun and moon, while a tight cluster of 7 dots unmistakably depicts the Pleiades star cluster. Flanking the sides are 2 golden arcs, each marking the sun's traveling path between its northernmost and southernmost rising and setting points throughout the year. At the bottom, a final curving band has been interpreted as a mythological solar barge, the vessel believed to carry the sun on its perilous journey through the underworld each night. This was far more than a decorative object. It was a sophisticated, portable astronomical calculator. For an agricultural society, timing was everything. Knowing precisely when to plant and when to harvest was the difference between prosperity and hardship. The problem was that the lunar calendar, based on the moon's phases, and the solar calendar, based on the sun's cycle, slowly fell out of sync. The Nebra Sky Disc provided the key to harmonizing them. Its imagery directly encodes the Metonic cycle, a complex 19-year period after which the phases of the moon realign with the same solar dates. By observing the position of the Pleiades relative to the moon, a knowledgeable user could keep both calendars in harmony, integrating celestial time into the practical rhythm of daily life. Here, the cosmos was not locked in towering stone. It was an intimate, handheld tool. This artifact suggests a specialized class of individuals, perhaps priests or chieftains, who carried this celestial knowledge with them, wielding the power to interpret the sky's schedule for their entire community. The Nebra Sky Disc bridges 2 worlds, connecting the grand cosmic cycles with the human scale need for order, proving that the language of the stars was understood, written, and carried long before we ever imagined. While empires built temples to touch the heavens, a more ancient and pragmatic observatory kept watch in the Peruvian desert. The 13 towers of Chankillo stand in a silent, precise line across a barren hilltop, a 2,300-year-old calendar written not on parchment, but in stone and shadow. From 2 distinct viewing platforms, one to the east and one to the west, this structure reveals its genius. At dawn, an observer standing at the western post would see the sun rise directly over a different tower each few days, marching steadily from one end of the row to the other and back again over the course of a year. The towers at the northern and southern ends act as clear boundary markers, framing the sun's journey at the solstices, while the central towers align with the equinoxes. This was not a monument for a single dramatic moment, but a continuous, reliable tool for tracking time itself. It functioned like a giant stone ruler laid against the horizon, allowing a trained observer to pinpoint the date with an accuracy of just 1 or 2 days simply by noting which tower was crowned by the rising sun. For the pre-Inca society that built it, this knowledge was the rhythm of life. It dictated the optimal times for planting and harvest in a challenging coastal environment, and almost certainly scheduled the sacred ceremonies that bound the community together. Chankillo stands as a powerful challenge to our assumptions, proving that the drive for celestial precision was not the sole property of vast, famous empires. Here, a culture whose name we do not even know achieved a stunningly elegant solution, turning a barren hill into a permanent public clock that measured the year with unwavering patience. In the heart of Rome, the Pantheon's dome offers a different kind of celestial dialogue, one not of precise alignments but of encompassing presence. Its central oculus, a perfect circle 27 feet across, is an open eye to the heavens. This is not a temple designed to capture a single ray of light on a specific day. Instead, it invites the entire sky inside. Throughout the day, the beam of sunlight pouring through this opening travels like a slow, luminous clock hand across the marble floor, marking the hours. As the seasons turn, the path and intensity of this light shift, painting the interior with a changing portrait of the sun's journey. On the spring equinox, this dance reaches a moment of perfect symmetry, when the midday sun strikes the metal grille above the grand doorway, flooding the entrance in a brilliant, welcoming glow. But the architects aimed for more than a sundial. They sought to build a model of the cosmos itself. The vast, coffered ceiling, with its recessed square panels, recedes upward in perfect harmony, creating the powerful illusion of a celestial sphere. This was the vault of heaven made tangible in Roman concrete, a geometric representation of a perfectly ordered universe. The building's very name, Pantheon, means all the gods, and its space was a physical gathering of the divine celestial bodies under one roof. This fusion of engineering and cosmology was a profound political statement. By creating a public space that so elegantly mirrored the heavens, the emperor demonstrated that his rule was a natural extension of this cosmic order. The predictable, majestic movement of the sun through the dome was a daily performance of divine favor, a reassurance to every citizen that the empire itself was as stable and enduring as the vault of heaven it so magnificently replicated. The moon holds a different kind of conversation with the stones of Callanish. On the remote Isle of Lewis in Scotland, a complex cross-shaped arrangement of ancient monoliths stands not as a tribute to the sun, but as a sophisticated lunar observatory. Here, the central pillar and its surrounding circle are precisely aligned to a rare and mesmerizing event, the major lunar standstill. Every 18.6 years, the moon reaches its most extreme southern rising point, seeming to skim the horizon in a low, slow arc. From within the circle, it appears as if the moon is dancing, gracefully threading its way between the silent stones before pausing, as if resting against the central monolith. This is not a fleeting daily occurrence, but a grand celestial performance that unfolds over a generation. To design a monument that captures this long, slow rhythm implies something profound about its Neolithic builders. It reveals a society capable of meticulous, multi-generational observation, a culture that tracked a celestial cycle longer than a single human lifetime and encoded that knowledge permanently into the landscape. This focus on the moon's complex path suggests their understanding of the heavens was far more nuanced than simple solar markers. The stones themselves amplify this connection, their dark, weathered forms echoing the contours of the rugged hills and reflecting in the nearby sea lochs. This was a holistic vision where the earthly and the celestial were woven into a single, seamless tapestry. The moon's cycles, governing tides and perhaps even rhythms of life, were given equal weight to the sun's, their silent, patient dance commemorated in stone for millennia. While the stones of Callanish tracked the moon's slow dance, the ancient Egyptians painted the entire cosmos on a temple ceiling. In the Temple of Hathor at Dendera, a masterpiece of celestial cartography awaits. The pronaos ceiling is dominated by the famed Dendera Zodiac, a sprawling circular map of the night sky carved in sandstone. This is not a simple picture of stars, but a complex fusion of Egyptian and Greco-Roman astronomical knowledge, a snapshot of the heavens as understood 2,000 years ago. Here, the familiar figures of the zodiac, like Taurus the bull and Leo the lion, mingle with distinctly Egyptian constellations and deities. The goddess Nut, who personified the sky, arches over the entire scene, a constant reminder of the divine fabric holding the universe together. Scattered throughout are the planets depicted as wandering deities and 36 small figures representing the decans, star groups used to track the hours of the night with meticulous precision. This intricate bas-relief was far more than decorative. It was a functional, symbolic alignment, a way to bring the entire ordered power of the cosmos directly into the sacred space of the temple. By encoding this celestial knowledge onto the ceiling, the priests created a permanent, divine clock and a map for their most important rituals. The temple's physical structure supported this cosmic dialogue. Specific chapels and the main axis of the complex were aligned with stars sacred to Hathor, the goddess of love, music, and the heavens. When the star Sirius, associated with the goddess Isis, rose in the pre-dawn sky, its light would have been welcomed by an architecture designed to receive its signal. This event heralded the Nile's annual flood, the lifeblood of Egypt, linking the celestial event seen on the ceiling to the terrestrial reality outside the temple walls. The Dendera Zodiac represents the culmination of thousands of years of observation, a final, glorious testament to a civilization that saw the pharaoh's primary duty as the maintenance of this cosmic balance. To stand beneath it was to stand beneath the blueprint of creation itself, a confirmation that human ritual and divine order were forever intertwined under the watchful eyes of the stars. High on a sandstone butte in Chaco Canyon, a secret dialogue between rock and light played out for centuries. The ancestral Puebloans engineered one of the most elegant celestial calendars ever found, a site now known as the Sun Dagger. 3 massive stone slabs positioned by nature or human hands with stunning exactness lean against the cliff face. Behind them, 2 spiral petroglyphs are carved into the rock wall. This was not a passive carving but a dynamic instrument. At high noon on the summer solstice, a brilliant sliver of sunlight would pierce through the narrow gaps between the slabs, projecting a sharp, dagger-like beam that sliced directly through the very center of the larger spiral. 6 months later, on the winter solstice, the sun's lower angle created 2 distinct light daggers that perfectly bracketed the same spiral on either side. And during the equinoxes, a single blade of light would transect the center of a smaller, companion spiral. This was a sophisticated, 3-act solar play performed annually on a stone canvas, marking the solstices and equinoxes with unerring accuracy. For the people of Chaco Canyon, this precise knowledge anchored their world, dictating the timing of ceremonies, harvests, and migrations in a challenging desert environment. It transformed an abstract astronomical event into a tangible, predictable phenomenon, a shared moment of cosmic confirmation for the entire community. The profound tragedy is that this delicate mechanism is now silent. The very act of its discovery and subsequent visitor traffic subtly shifted the fragile sandstone slabs, disrupting the alignments that had held true for generations. The Sun Dagger stands today not just as a testament to ancient genius, but as a fragile, closed book. It is a powerful and humbling lesson in the irreplaceable nature of these sites, reminding us that our quest for understanding must always be balanced with a profound duty to protect, ensuring that the silent language of stone and star can continue to speak to the wonder of generations yet to come. But the true genius of the Maya was not confined to their temples. It was written down. While the stone of Chichen Itza speaks to the public, the fragile pages of the Dresden Codex whisper the secret science behind the spectacle. This bark paper book, one of only a few Mayan texts to survive the passage of time, is a monumental achievement of the mind. Within its carefully painted pages lies not just mythology, but a sophisticated mathematical engine for predicting the cosmos. Its most famous section is a breathtakingly accurate Venus table. The Maya tracked the planet's 584-day synodic period, the time it takes to return to the same point in the sky relative to the Sun, with an error of just 1 day in over 500 years. This was not abstract stargazing. The appearance of Venus as the morning or evening star was intimately tied to the god Kukulkan and was considered a potent omen. The Codex provided a celestial schedule, allowing priests and rulers to plan military campaigns and coronation ceremonies to coincide with these powerful celestial moments, effectively using the planet's motion to sanction their actions with divine authority. This precise, long-term tracking reveals a civilization engaged in a form of rigorous, data-driven science. They were not merely watching the sky, they were recording its rhythms across generations, identifying patterns, and developing complex mathematical formulas to project those patterns far into the future. The architectural alignments we marvel at today were the public face of this deep, written knowledge. The pyramids were the theater, but the Dresden Codex was the script, proving that the Maya possessed an intellectual mastery of the heavens that rivaled their architectural genius. This fragile book transforms our understanding, showing a civilization that saw the universe not as a mystery, but as a complex, predictable system waiting to be decoded. Rising from the Belizean rainforest, the Pyramid of Kona, the Sky Palace, still dominates the canopy as the tallest structure in the country. This ancient Mayan skyscraper was far more than a royal residence. It was a precisely calibrated instrument for tracking the moon's most dramatic performance. While the main staircase of this colossal pyramid faced the setting sun on the equinoxes, its true celestial partner was the moon. Archaeoastronomers have found that its alignment captures the moon at its major standstill, the extreme northern point in its 18.6-year journey. Imagine the visual power of that event for the people of Caracol. After nearly 2 decades, they would witness the full moon sink dramatically behind the massive, stair-stepped facade of their ruler's palace, a direct, undeniable link between the earthly seat of power and the slow, majestic rhythm of the cosmos. This was not an isolated phenomenon. The entire city was a web of celestial alignments, with other temples and platforms oriented toward the rising of key stars and the sun's pivotal positions throughout the year. This integrated urban design reveals a profound truth about Mayan statecraft. For the rulers of Caracol, controlling the calendar was synonymous with controlling the kingdom. By architecturally demonstrating their unique ability to predict and orchestrate these celestial events, they legitimized their divine right to rule. They were not just kings, they were the interpreters of the cosmos, the mediators between the people and the gods. The city's layout was a physical manifestation of this belief, a permanent declaration that the authority to command the movements of the sun and the moon was vested in the one who sat atop the Sky Palace. This cosmic axis finds its ultimate earthly expression in Beijing's Forbidden City. Here, the precise north-south alignment was not merely an architectural choice, but a profound declaration of divine order. The entire sprawling complex, from its grandest hall to its most intimate courtyard, is arranged along a single, unbroken line pointing directly toward the North Star, Polaris. In the Chinese astronomical tradition, Polaris was known as the purple forbidden enclosure, the brilliant, unmoving pivot around which the entire celestial sphere gracefully turned. By mirroring this cosmic geometry on the ground, the emperor who held the sacred title Son of Heaven positioned his physical residence as the absolute center of the human realm. He was the terrestrial counterpart to that celestial anchor, the still point around which all worldly affairs revolved. This symbolic connection was reinforced in every aspect of the palace's design. The most important ceremonial halls, like the Hall of Supreme Harmony, all faced decisively toward the south. This orientation was deeply intentional, as south was the direction associated with the warmth of the sun, with life, vitality, and benevolent authority. The emperor would sit upon his dragon throne facing this auspicious direction, receiving officials and presiding over rituals that affirmed his role as the conduit between heaven and earth. The timing of these state ceremonies was itself dictated by the sky, following the intricate rhythms of the lunar calendar and the 24 solar terms that marked the sun's annual journey. This was not a cosmology designed for public spectacle, as with the equinox light shows of other cultures. Instead, it was an inward-facing, philosophical system meticulously built into stone and wood to reinforce a singular, powerful ideology. Every aligned gateway and every south-facing throne room served as a constant physical reminder that the emperor's mandate to rule was woven directly into the unshakable fabric of the universe, maintaining a harmonious and hierarchical order that extended from the imperial court all the way to the motionless star at the center of the night sky. The sun god Surya's chariot stands frozen in stone on the coast of India. The Konark Sun Temple is not merely a building, but a cosmic vehicle, a monumental expression of faith designed for a divine passenger. Its 12 pairs of ornately carved wheels correspond precisely to the 12 months of the year, while the 7 mighty horses straining at the front symbolize the 7 days of the week. This was a complete calendar rendered in granite, an entire system of time made permanent and beautiful. The temple's primary alignment is a direct conversation with the dawn. Its main entrance was positioned so that the first rays of the rising sun would flood through the doorway, traveling across the hall to illuminate the sacred statue of the deity within. This daily event was a ritual of renewal, a symbolic recharging of the temple's spiritual energy by the very entity it was built to honor. But the architects of Konark embedded a second layer of genius into their design. Each of the 24 wheels functions as a sophisticated, working sundial. The intricate spokes are not just decorative, they are precisely angled. As the sun moves across the sky, the shadows cast by these spokes fall upon the wheel's rim, which is marked with detailed carvings. A knowledgeable observer could read these shadow positions to determine the time of day with remarkable accuracy. This transforms the entire temple complex from a static object of worship into a dynamic, functioning timepiece. Every element, from the grand horses to the smallest carving on a wheel, serves this unified vision, a tribute to the sun's life-giving power and its absolute command over the cycles of existence. Konark stands as a breathtaking synthesis where unwavering devotion, sublime artistry, and profound astronomical understanding are fused into a single, poetic monument to the source of all light. 13,000 years ago, long before the first stones of Stonehenge were raised, a group of Mesolithic hunter-gatherers in Scotland began to mark time itself. At a site known as Warren Field, excavations uncovered a sequence of 12 pits, carefully dug in a graceful arc. This was not a random arrangement. Analysis suggests these pits functioned as a sophisticated lunar calendar, a timekeeping device created around 8,000 years before the Common Era. That makes it the oldest known calendar in the world by a staggering margin. Each pit likely represented a specific phase in the moon's monthly cycle, a simple yet profound system for tracking the passage of time. A person could move a marker from one pit to the next with each passing night, visually following the moon's journey from darkness to fullness and back again. But the true genius of this system may have been its capacity to account for a much larger discrepancy. The 12 pits align with the 12 lunar months, but a lunar year of 12 cycles falls about 11 days short of a full solar year. The arc of pits may have provided a way to track this difference, allowing the community to reset their calendar and keep their lunar months in sync with the changing seasons over longer cycles. This discovery fundamentally rewrites our understanding of human intellectual development. Here we have evidence of complex astronomical thought, not from a grand agricultural empire, but from nomadic hunter-gatherers. They did not need a calendar to know when to plant crops, for they had no fields. Their survival depended on predicting the migrations of animals, the runs of fish, and the seasonal availability of plants. By creating a permanent physical calendar, they were building a tool for resilience. It allowed them to anticipate the bounty of spring or the hardships of winter, to plan their movements across the landscape with a new level of foresight. This simple arc of pits is a powerful testament to a universal human drive, the need to find order in the cosmos and, in doing so, to secure our place within its vast and beautiful rhythm. The greatest monuments are not always made of stone. Across the vast expanse of the Pacific Ocean, the Polynesian voyagers built their legacy not with quarried rock, but with an intimate, living knowledge of the sky. They performed one of humanity's most daring acts of exploration, navigating thousands of miles of open water to discover and settle islands scattered like stars across the sea, all by aligning their course with the heavens. Their vessel was the celestial map itself, a dynamic and mental construct known as the star compass. This was not a physical object, but a sophisticated mental model of the horizon, divided into 32 houses. Each house was defined by the precise point where a specific, bright star would rise or set. A navigator would memorize the entire dome of the night sky, knowing that as one star dipped below the waves, another would be rising in its designated house to take its place, creating an unbroken celestial pathway across the ocean. The star path of Sirius, for instance, served as a brilliant, reliable guide for voyages toward the south, but their genius did not stop with the stars. They read the ocean as if it were a text, interpreting the subtle patterns of swells rebounding from distant, unseen islands. They watched the flight paths of certain seabirds, knowing that a bird flying out to fish in the morning would always return to land at night, revealing the direction to a sheltered shore beyond the horizon. This profound, multi-layered understanding was far too precious to be written down. It was encoded into chants, into stories, and into sacred teachings, passed in a direct line from one master navigator to the next. This oral tradition preserved a complex science of wayfinding for generations, a living library carried in human memory. The Polynesian expansion stands as a breathtaking testament to a different kind of alignment, one of human courage and intellect perfectly synchronized with the constant, guiding rhythms of the natural world. Their greatest monument was the journey itself, a perpetual conversation between the canoe, the ocean, and the stars. The Parthenon's marble columns rise on the Acropolis not only as a monument to human reason, but as a quiet tribute to the stars. While less overt than a pyramid's solar shaft, its alignments are deeply woven into the civic and spiritual life of ancient Athens. The Great Eastern Doorway was positioned with exacting care, designed to frame the rising sun on the morning of the Panathenaic festival. This was the city's most sacred event, a grand procession and series of rituals celebrating the birthday of its patron goddess, Athena. On that hallowed day, the first light would have streamed directly into the temple's heart, illuminating the colossal gold and ivory statue of the goddess within. This was more than architecture. It was a scheduled moment of divine communion, a yearly confirmation that the city existed in harmony with the cosmos. This pursuit of cosmic harmony extended to the very mathematics of the building. The Parthenon's proportions are not arbitrary. They are a study in precise ratios, carefully calculated to reflect the perfect order the Greeks believed governed the universe. Its dimensions embody the golden ratio, a mathematical relationship found in natural forms from seashells to spiral galaxies, creating a visual rhythm that feels inherently balanced and right to the human eye. For the philosopher-architects who designed it, this was a deliberate act. They were building a model of a rational cosmos, a physical manifestation of their belief that the same mathematical laws that guided the planets could also guide human creation. Even the temple's sculpted stories whisper of celestial connections. The metopes carved along its outer frieze depict epic battles between gods and giants, lapiths and centaurs. These were not just thrilling myths, they were allegories for the triumph of order over chaos, mirroring the eternal struggle they saw in the heavens, where the predictable movements of the stars overcame the dark, formless void. The continuous inner frieze, showing the great Panathenaic procession itself, grounded this cosmic order in the life of the city, linking the everyday citizen to the divine framework above. In the end, the Parthenon stands as the ultimate expression of a revolutionary idea, that human reason could discern and emulate the sublime order of the cosmos. It was a declaration that beauty, truth, and the motion of the heavens were all parts of a single, intelligible whole. This philosophical principle, set in stone for all to see, would become the bedrock of Western science and art, a legacy far greater than any empire. The starry patterns above Giza may hold a secret written in the very placement of its pyramids. One of the most captivating and contentious ideas in modern archaeology is the Orion correlation theory. This proposal suggests the three great pyramids of Giza are not randomly situated. Instead, they are meticulously arranged on the ground to form a perfect mirror image of the three bright stars that make up Orion's belt. Popularized by author Robert Bovell, the theory goes even further. It posits that the entire Giza necropolis was conceived as a detailed map of the constellation of Osiris, the god of the afterlife. In this celestial blueprint, the Nile River itself plays a role, representing the Milky Way in the night sky. The theory presents a powerful narrative, directly linking the pharaoh's journey after death to a specific, eternal destination among the stars, transforming the entire plateau into a colossal resurrection machine aimed at the heavens. This idea has understandably captured the global imagination, suggesting a level of astronomical planning that feels both profound and mystifying. Yet, within academic Egyptology, the theory faces significant challenges. Critics point to a conspicuous lack of any direct textual evidence within ancient Egyptian writings that describe such a detailed stellar map. There are also complex chronological issues, as the alignment of the stars with the pyramids would have been most perfect not when the pyramids were built, but many thousands of years earlier. The debate itself, however, is incredibly valuable. It forces us to confront the fundamental difficulty of interpreting the silent intentions of ancient builders. Where one researcher sees a deliberate celestial map, another sees a compelling coincidence. This ongoing conversation highlights the delicate balance between rigorous, evidence-based scholarship and the human desire to find grand, unifying patterns in the past. It reminds us that decoding the language of monuments and stars is rarely a simple translation, but an ongoing, fascinating dialogue between what we can prove and what we feel must be true. Our modern age wields tools that would seem like pure magic to the pyramid builders. These technologies are now peeling back the layers of time, allowing us to verify celestial alignments with a level of precision those ancient astronomers could only dream of. Sophisticated planetarium software, such as Stellarium, can wind back the cosmic clock. It recreates the exact night sky over the Salisbury Plain 4,000 years ago or above the Giza Plateau when the Great Pyramids were new, meticulously accounting for a subtle celestial drift known as precession. This is the slow, 26,000-year wobble of Earth's rotational axis, a gradual shift that changes our view of the stars over centuries. Without this digital correction, we would be looking at the wrong sky, misinterpreting the stellar targets that these monuments were built to honor. On the ground, laser scanners paint ancient stones with millions of data points, constructing three-dimensional digital models accurate to within millimeters. This process can reveal faint scratches, worn surfaces, or precise angles that form sightlines too subtle for the human eye to detect. From above, satellite imagery and geographic information systems, or GIS, let archaeologists see the big picture. They can analyze the spatial relationships between temples, tombs, and natural landmarks like distant mountain peaks across an entire region, uncovering a vast, interconnected celestial geography. This technological triad is revolutionizing our understanding. It has provided strong evidence to support theories about the solar function of structures like Newgrange's roof box, while simultaneously challenging other popular ideas, forcing a more rigorous, evidence-based approach to the past. This is not about replacing wonder with cold data. It is about using the lens of technology to see more clearly, to listen more attentively to the silent conversation between stone and star. We are learning to read this ancient language not with our assumptions, but with the unwavering clarity of light and mathematics, finally beginning to understand the sky as our ancestors truly saw it. From the solstice sunrise at Newgrange to the serpent shadow at Chichen Itza, we have journeyed through time and across continents to witness the profound connection ancient civilizations forged with the cosmos. These alignments were not mere coincidences but deliberate acts of genius, blending science, spirituality, and art to create monuments that served as calendars, observatories, and portals to the divine. They remind us that our ancestors looked upon the same stars we see today and saw not random points of light, but a coherent, meaningful order that guided their lives and shaped their world. The decoding of these alignments is more than an academic exercise. It is a recovery of a lost dimension of human intelligence and a humbling reminder of our place in a vast, interconnected universe. As you look up at the night sky, remember that you are part of this enduring story. Share in the comments which ancient alignment fascinated you the most, and subscribe to continue this journey of discovery.